Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the RotoBaller Radio Waiver Wire Series. I'm your host, Anthony Aniano. Happy to be with you here today as we take an early look at the waiver wire for Week 5 of your fantasy football season. Now, full disclosure, recording this on Sunday evening before the Sunday night game, before the Packers and the Dallas Cowboys, and before the Monday night doubleheader featuring the Jets and the Dolphins and the Bengals and the Broncos. So that's still 6 teams still to play this week at the time of this recording. So obviously other injuries may occur, breakout players could develop, whatever it may be. That's why we call it an early look at the waiver wire for Week 5. Now looking ahead to Week 5, keeping in mind we start our bye weeks with 4 teams on a bye in Week 5. The Atlanta Falcons, no Drake London, no Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, Michael Penix. Chicago Bears and their wide receiver room, DeAndre Swift, Caleb Williams. The Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft at the tight end position. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, Aaron Rodgers, DK Metcalf, Jalen Warren, Kenneth Gainwell. We'll talk about that more in a minute. On the injury front, Lamar Jackson injured in Week 4 with a hamstring. He left that game against the Kansas City Chiefs. At the wide receiver position, Ricky Pearsall went out, Darnell Mooney of the Falcons went out, Cedric Tillman of the Cleveland Browns left the game with a hamstring, and I think the biggest injury of the week, what appears to be a season-ending ACL tear for Giants superstar wide receiver Malik Neighbors. So we prepare for that and looking at the Giant wide receiver under the assumption that we will not see him again this season. Now, let's start with the possibility of having to make up some quarterback play, whether it's we're concerned about Lamar Jackson, maybe we need to make up for Jordan Love or Caleb Williams, whomever it may be. 3 quarterbacks to be mindful of on the waiver wire. And as always, Yahoo roster percentages are our talking point, looking for players in 50% or more of Yahoo leagues. And Matthew Stafford leads the charge this week. He's available in 58% of Yahoo leagues. Cinches the win this week against the Colts with that beautiful pass to Tutu Atwell with a little over a minute or so left. He finishes 29 of 41, 375 yards, 3 touchdowns in a 6-point per passing touchdown format. That's 38.4 fantasy points. In 4 games this year, Stafford 8 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions. Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua is a top 5 wide receiver in the league. That Rams offense, good. They're 3-1 now on the season. They play the San Francisco 49ers in a Thursday night special. Should be a fun game. 49ers coming off the loss to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Up second for me, Sam Darnold of the Seattle Seahawks. I mentioned him last week. I'm saying him again. He's available in 79% of Yahoo leagues. 18 of 26, 242 yards and 1 touchdown this week for the Seahawks. He's got 5 touchdowns passes in his last 3 games, 18.1 fantasy points this week. Goes up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay going to Seattle, always tough to go coast from coast, and going from southern Florida to the Pacific Northwest. That is quite the travel time for the Tampa Bay Bucs. Finally, my third QB, maybe somebody more in a 2 QB format, but Jackson Dart played well. He did impress. And I know right now you're saying, but Anthony, he lost Neighbors. What impressed me, and everybody's always chasing down a quarterback that can run, Jackson Dart did do some nice things running the ball out of the quarterback position. Now, he's available in 77% of Yahoo formats. 13 of 20, 111 yards, 1 passing touchdown, the little pass to tight end Theo Johnson. But on the ground, 10 carries for 54 yards. Giants were able to run the ball pretty well in their upset victory over the Chargers. So if you could get a quarterback who can run for 54, run in a touchdown, give you essentially double-digit rushing points, and then whatever he can add for adding. Listen, if we're in on Justin Fields, Jackson Dart could become a factor, at least in deeper leagues or 2 QB formats. 21.8 fantasy points this week, and a good matchup for the Giants next week. Chance to go to 2-3 as they go up against the New Orleans Saints. Now, at the running back position, as of this recording, and again a reminder, I'm recording before the Sunday and Monday night games, running back position seems to have stayed relatively healthy. Who knows what comes out in the news over the next 24 to 48 hours. But the top running back to add, and probably the top add across fantasy football this week, will be Woody Marks of the Houston Texans. Now, in leagues I'm in, he's already been rostered However, he is only rostered in 29% of Yahoo leagues. Makes him available in 71% of leagues. Out-carried Nick Chubb, more touches than Nick Chubb. We don't know when Joe Mixon is or will he even come back. And I think we all kind of expected eventually the younger, more explosive Woody Marks to take over the primary running back role over Nick Chubb. And it very well could have happened this past week. 17 carries, 69 yards, and a rushing touchdown. Involved in the passing game, 4 catches for 50 yards and a receiving touchdown on 5 targets. 27.9 fantasy points in a PPR format, and going up against, on the road, a Baltimore defense that has shown that they are struggling to stop anybody right now. Kansas City Chiefs lit them up. I'm not saying the Texans win on the road, although who knows what happens with Lamar Jackson, but nonetheless, Woody Marks, a fantastic ad, and now in the conversation at the very least to be a flex play or a Bijan Robinson, DeAndre Swift, Josh Jacobs fill-in for the week. Now, one other running back to mention is Kenneth Gainwell, who had that monster game Sunday morning in Ireland. But keep in mind, the Pittsburgh Steelers are on a bye, so don't bid too much. And who knows what Jaylen Warren's status will then be in 2 weeks. Got to mention Kenneth Gainwell, 31 PPR fantasy points, available in 78% of leagues, 99 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, 6 catches for 35 yards. However, he takes a dip in value because of the bye next week. If you have Jaylen Warren, though, maybe you want to grab Kenneth Gainwell as the primary backup to him. At the wide receiver position, we're trying to overcome some injuries. Cedric Tillman, Malik Neighbors, to name the big two, possibly Ricky Pearsall as well. 3 wide receivers to be mindful of. Next up in Cleveland, Isaiah Bond. This guy would have probably been a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick. Off the field issues, comes to Cleveland. The rookie has been steady now. He's up to 10 targets in his last 2 games. This week, 3 catches, 58 yards on 6 targets, 8.8 fantasy points. He's essentially free everywhere. I have him in dynasty formats, in long-term dynasty. So Isaiah Bond, Cleveland does think highly of him, and he could very well, if Cedric Tillman misses time, step up into a more prominent role. Goes up against the Minnesota Vikings next week. The direct replacement for Malik Neighbors is Darius Slayton, who was targeted 4 times, 3 catches, 44 yards. He's known as a big play threat. That's what he's always been. Jackson Dart can certainly throw it. Darius Slayton available in 98% of leagues. Listen, I don't like it, but if you don't have wide receiver depth on your bench to replace Malik Neighbors, Darius Slayton may be the easiest ad out there, going up against the Saints in New Orleans next week. And then finally, probably my top wide receiver to add is Tyquan Thornton of the Kansas City Chiefs. Now this week, only 2 catches, 2 targets, 1 catch, 11 yards, but it was a touchdown. Tyquan Thornton now a touchdown in 3 straight games. Problem in Kansas City is Xavier Worthy had a great game. Welcome back. Hollywood Brown caught a touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster caught a touchdown. Tyquan Thornton caught a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes has a plethora of guys to throw to right now. But following trends, Tyquan Thornton, 3 touchdowns in 3 games. He's available. He's rostered 31% of leagues, available in 69% of leagues for the Kansas City Chiefs. And finally, if you need a tight end to replace somebody on the bye, you could look at Theo Johnson. Maybe he gets an increase in targets with Malik Neighbors out. But Dalton Schultz, not exciting. Not a high ceiling player, but a safe floor tight end right now for you. He's available in 81% of leagues. 5 catches, 30 yards on 6 targets. It's essentially back-to-back weeks of the exact same stat line. 6 targets the last 2 weeks, 5 receptions each of the last 2 weeks, 30 and then 39 yards. He's not giving you a ton of stuff, but with 5 catches, he's giving you 8 to 10 point floor if you're desperate for the week and looking for a soft landing spot. He's got 22 targets in 4 games, so he's giving you 5 targets essentially a game with 4 catches overall. Like I mentioned earlier, Houston on the road against the Baltimore Ravens in Week 5. So to recap, my top ads for Week 5 of your fantasy football season: quarterbacks, Matthew Stafford, Sam Darnold, Jackson Dart. Running backs, Woody Marks, my top ad of the week. Kenneth Gainwell, keeping in mind he is on a bye in Week 5. Wide receivers, Isaiah Bond, Darius Slayton, and Tyquan Thornton. And a tight end, Dalton Schultz of the Houston Texans. As always, everybody, go to RotoBaller.com. Check out everything there, including all our waiver wire articles. Sign up for the RotoBaller Premium Pass. Use the promotional code ACES and save at checkout. Like and subscribe right here to the RotoBaller YouTube channel. Give me a follow on X at @ANianoFantasy and download that RotoBaller app. It is completely free. Everything you get online right there on your phone through the RotoBaller app. So take advantage of that as well. As always, everybody, thanks for watching. Good luck working that waiver wire, and we'll see you next time right here on RotoBaller Radio.